Want to update your LinkedIn profile to drive more leads and opportunities? Then you'll want to stay tuned to watch this latest Fanny Dunigan Show episode. I'll see you soon. Hey, welcome everyone. My name is Fanny Dunigan, and every 2 weeks I come to you with my live show to talk about creator tips, tools, and tales. And I interview various content creators across different industries and showcase their tips and advice to you, my audience. And so let's move to our segment of the content tip of the week. Here we go. Okay, so today's content tip of the week is all about the 10 types of LinkedIn content. Over the past few years, LinkedIn has just chronologically added more and more and more types of content that's available to you all as creators. And it's amazing how many they have nowadays. And I thought I summarized them all for you. So whether you are a person that likes to write or be on video or audio or photos or infographics or images, whatever is your strength, there is a type of content for you on LinkedIn to be posting. So here we go. Let me share with you the 10 types of LinkedIn content. And so first of all, if I can, there we go. First of all, obviously, I think a lot of people, this is very underestimated because they underestimate the power of comments. Okay. You can create all kinds of connections just by commenting on people's posts and engaging with others in the comments. So make sure that you leverage that type of content. Even if you do nothing at all in terms of creating content, connect and comment with other people's posts. And that's also a great way to build your network. Second type is to share articles. What you can do here is a lot of people, if you like something from someone else's post or from a Wall Street Journal or whatever kind of news that you read, right? You can share those articles, and that's definitely the second type. Though those ones don't get as much engagement because the LinkedIn algorithm doesn't encourage that or doesn't really promote that as much. But that's definitely another type of content if you're looking for a quick share. Thirdly, text-only posts. These are the posts where you just write something. If you're more comfortable with text and words, just write a text-only post. Those ones also get quite a bit of engagement. Fourth, image posts. Share your photos, share your graphics, share your images. Photos have been getting all kinds of great viewership and engagement on LinkedIn. So share photos of you attending networking events or meeting someone, a connection of yours on LinkedIn, or you're featuring somebody on your show, or whatever event that you might be attending. So be sure to use image posts. Those have gotten so much great engagement and viewership on LinkedIn. Fifth, PDF carousels. If you have a few, like 5 tips to doing something or 10 ways to optimize something, do a PDF carousel. Then you have 1 tip per slide, and those have gotten tons of viewers and engagement as well. LinkedIn articles. If you love to write long form, you can create LinkedIn articles, write a, long form article about one of your subjects that you're an expert in, right? Project management, HR, marketing, whatever your subject matter is that you're an expert in, write a LinkedIn article. And then if you want to do that consistently, you can elevate your info to a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter. LinkedIn will allow you to create a series of articles that all form part of a newsletter. So if you like to write, and this is something that I launched recently as well, you can create a newsletter that gets followers, and every time you publish, all your subscribers will be notified of your newsletter. Number 8, one of my favorites, also kind of scary, but worthwhile, is video. When people see you through video and you do it consistently, they feel like they know you. So it's very worthwhile to get on video. Number 9, what are we doing here? A live stream, right? We're live streaming here. This is an option that's available now to everyone on LinkedIn as long as your profile is in creator mode. So be sure to try that out. It's a great way to really meet your audience and engage with them in real time. It's such a thrill. You can stumble along the way just like I do sometimes, but you're still going to get great engagement, and it's a wonderful way to meet people that are your audience and build a community. Okay. Number 10, this is in beta testing right now, audio events. This is a great way to interact with people if you're not as comfortable on video. It's very much like, oh my gosh, what's the I'm drawing a blank. It's very much like the show. What's the one that's Clubhouse? There we go. It's very much like Clubhouse, and now that's available on LinkedIn. It's in beta testing right now, but I think eventually everyone will get access to that. So be sure to check that out. And those are the 10 types of LinkedIn content that you can be doing. It's amazing, isn't it, that there's so much available now? And so try that out. Whatever you're more comfortable with, jump on that and start there. And if you're comfortable with one, then try another type of content, right? Switch it up. Give your audience a whole variety of content. And that way you're going to draw more viewers and more people to your community. Okay. And that's my content tip of the week. Okay, now to the star of the show and my guest. I would like all of you to join me in welcoming Leanne Calderwood to the show. Welcome, Leanne. How are you?
Hello, everyone. I'm great. How are you, Fanny?
Wonderful. My brain went blank. And
I know,
I
was yelling.
because I was like, I know you're a great Clubhouse person.
Clubhouse. No, but LinkedIn Audio, I think, is going to take over. I shouldn't say take over Clubhouse. The ones that are on LinkedIn, I think, are going to stay on LinkedIn and play with the audio. So anyways, we can go down that rabbit hole another day, but
yes,
audio is the way of the future, my friends. It really is.
Yeah, speaking of that, oh man. Actually, while we're on this subject, like just the other day, I posted about like fear video, right? Because you stumble. We're all still we all still stumble, right? Do you still remember your first kind of like video experience?
Well, it's on YouTube, so it's hard. Like, unless I delete that video, yeah, it's there for life. But I keep it there because I feel I've gotten better through the years. And I still have a long way to go. I'm no Fanny, right? Like, I still have a long ways to go, which is what I love about watching you, Fanny, is because I need to try and catch up to you. And then you're going to keep going. And so it's just going to be this constant race to try and catch Fanny, because I love your stuff.
Well, we're all here to grow together. So let me read this bio to everyone in the audience about the amazing Leanne Calderwood. She believes in developing a personal brand, which is the key to setting yourself apart in the hospitality industry. Serving as a conference direct site selection associate for the past 14 years, Leanne has used the industry's hiatus in 2020 to help other sales professionals to find their voice and create a brand that attracts business and opportunities.
Mhm.
And through this work, her true passion was ignited. And now Leanne serves hospitality professionals and small teams through her blog, videos, online courses, and consulting services around LinkedIn and personal branding. And when she's not talking shop and when she's not geeking out over LinkedIn with
On
me,
video, yeah.
you can find Leanne drinking tea, making jam, and gardening at her home in Kelowna, BC. Yay,
Mhm.
Canada! With her husband, 2 teenage sons, and her dog, Farles Barkley. Did I pronounce
Farrell's
that right?
Barkley, yes. Farrell's is out for a walk right now because sometimes when I come onto video, he starts to bark because he thinks I'm talking to him. So
Uh-huh.
my husband kindly took him out of the house, and hopefully he doesn't get back anytime soon.
It's all good. I have a dog as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
but, actually, so tell us real briefly, what was
Mhm.
a lesson that you learned from doing your first LinkedIn video or your first video for that matter?
Well, it's funny because Jahan dropped it in the comments. You have a hashtag, Fanny, called Do It Scared. And that is exactly how I felt through doing my first video. Is it's scary. Even if
Mhm.
you're doing video that you have the ability to edit, you will film like an hour of video to
Yeah,
edit it down to 5 minutes because it's scary and
yeah.
you
Mhm.
judge yourself. So I think my biggest lesson is I just got to stop with the self judgment and
Yeah,
just do it scared, get it out there. Because no one else that matters is really judging you. So I think that's my biggest lesson around video. This is my year of tackling TikTok. So, yes, the people,
ah,
you've heard it here
yes,
first. I'm going to try and get
yes.
TikTok going in my world, but I'm scared. But I'm going to do
Mhm.
it scared.
It's well worth it. Actually, 3 episodes back, I interviewed, Austin Armstrong. So
Okay.
and, I'll have to connect you to he is a TikTok SEO marketing professional, and
Oh,
he has
okay. I'm
all
writing.
kinds of amazing advice. So for those of you that, like Leanne, are looking to grow yourselves on TikTok, Austin Armstrong is the guy to connect to. So tell us a little bit about your journey, like of content creation and becoming a LinkedIn educator these days.
Yeah, well, it's so I've been in my industry in the meetings and events space for 20 years now. And it was actually 15 years ago. I just celebrated the other day, 15 years ago, when I changed my career within the industry and moved into something that required a bit of a sales role. And through that, I discovered that I'm not a very good salesperson, at least in the traditional way of doing things, like picking up the phone and crafting email campaigns. So I wanted to try to grow my business a bit differently. And that's where I started diving into inbound marketing, which includes all those content marketing principles. So started to create videos, started to work on my LinkedIn presence a bit more. So that journey probably started 12 years ago, but really became intentional about content creation only about 6 years ago. And that's what kind of where my first blog launched, where my YouTube started to get up and running. And so now I've had 6 years of practice. And that's what brings me to March 13th, 2020, which is a date in all of our calendars, kind of when our industry got super hit here in Canada. That's when the government shut down everything for COVID. And so all of us had to clean up the mess that was left with shutting down the country's meetings and events. But for me, it shut down my business as well, because my business was meetings and events taking place. That's where I made money, is if meetings were held, I created revenue. If meetings don't get held, um, that revenue stream dries up a little bit. So when that happened, I knew this was my opportunity to pick that file up off the corner of my desk and go, okay, Leanne, now it's time to go all in on what you love the most about your job. And that was the content creation piece and the building the brand piece and the getting active on LinkedIn piece. So that's what I've been doing for 2 years, is just doing more and more and more of that
Yeah.
in order to train others to become content creators and branders and LinkedIn heroes.
Yeah. No, I love that. And especially this, like, I mean, we've all had to kind of like almost rebrand ourselves when the pandemic hit, right? And especially hospitality, right? Like what
Mhm.
have you seen in the hospitality industry these days? Like from 2020, and then it's tried to come back in 2021, and then we had Omicron,
Yeah.
and now in 2022. What is kind of like that journey in the state of the hospitality industry that you've noticed?
Yeah, well, and if you haven't been watching in the news, we're still slowly climbing back. But what 2020 and 2021 really did is it changed the way that we related to one another, because those in-person interactions were now gone. Not only for the people we plan meetings for, but us as meeting planners ourselves, so hospitality industry professionals ourselves. The way we interact and drive sales had to change, so we could no longer rely on those networking receptions. And to be honest, we could no longer rely on picking up the phone, because we were all now getting zoomed in to a brand new
Mhm.
culture of this virtual world. So the way we related to people and the way we sold to people completely changed. And that's where personal branding, I think, has a huge opportunity, is when you're no longer able to physically see, touch, and taste the product before you purchase, which we couldn't do. Now it comes down to relationships. And the
Yeah,
best way for us to build those relationships and build that know, like, and trust factor is to share a little bit about ourselves. And that's, of course, through our personal brand. So that's been the biggest switch. But the other thing that's happened is, because our industry took that massive pause, and like me, there was literally thousands of people who lost their livelihoods, they had to find employment elsewhere. So we're seeing a
yes.
mass exodus of our talent leave the industry, and a mass exodus of, or a mass influx of new talent into the industry. So I see this time as this opportunity to reimagine how we relate to one another, how we do sales, how we even run our meetings and events. It's scary. It's a lot of work. There's a ton
Yeah,
of training that needs to be done, but this is the time. And I think for any industry that went through change in 2021, I think the regret that we may have, and I hope this doesn't happen in our industry, is that we just fall back on old patterns because it's
mhm,
easy to do. So it's a lot of hard work ahead of us, but this is the time to implement the hard work when we're kind of in this industry pause. Does that make
for
sense,
sure.
Ben?
Yeah. I mean, like, we're all staring at this, right? Like,
All
I
day.
mean, we have to build our digital brand, because
Yes.
that face to face, it'll come back, but we're all still quite glued to this also.
But
Um,
when it does come back, because
mhm.
we've been intentional about building our brand, and we've been intentional about maybe even being on LinkedIn and creating those connections, when it does come back and we're meeting in person for the very first time, it's like meeting an old friend. And it's not going to be that cold, um, icebreaker interaction when you see that person. I mean, Fanny and G, case in point, I've never met you in person. But I'm pretty sure when we do meet in person, we're not going to
Yeah.
be talking about the weather. We are going to be able to just pick up
We
where we
can
left
dive right
off
in. Yeah.
after this conversation today. And that's what I love about branding, is
Yeah.
it nurtures relationships in a way that no other real platform can.
And especially video. Like
Mhm.
my favorite quote was that, when you create consistent video, people feel like
Yeah.
they know you before they
Mhm.
even meet you, right?
Mhm.
Like I feel like I have a feel for you, right? I've been on your
Yep.
show, you're now on my show, and I just love your energy. I love your content. And yeah, we could totally go out and have a drink together and coffee or tea or
Exactly.
whatever. And like it would be like old friends. For
Yeah.
sure.
And that's what branding has done, I think, for both of us, Fanny.
For sure. So
Yeah.
let's get straight into it. Let's look
Okay.
at LinkedIn, right? Because one of your specialties is to help people build their LinkedIn profile.
Mhm, mhm.
And you have a course actually, right? I love the name of your course,
Oh, thank
Profile to
you.
Profit, right?
Yes,
How
yes.
many of you in the comments below, first of all, let us know if you're in the hospitality industry by typing
Yes.
in hashtag hospitality.
Ooh.
And if you're not in hospitality, type in your industry, whatever that is, that hashtag. Let us know what industry you're in the comments. And also let us know on a scale of 1 to 5, with 1 being non-existent LinkedIn profile to 5 superstar LinkedIn profile, how would you rate yourself? I'm very curious. Let us know
Mhm.
in the comments, first of all, what industry you're in. And then, second, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being superstar LinkedIn profile, let us know how you would rate your LinkedIn profile. And while you guys are doing that in
Awesome.
the comments, I am going to share Leanne's uh, LinkedIn profile here so that we can kind of walk through.
Yeah, I see we've got some marketing, some branding,
Uh-huh.
we've got a career coach. We've got Vicky,
Awesome.
who is a student in Profile to Profit. She's just getting started in the course. So
Oh,
I'm super
awesome.
excited to work with Vicky on her profile, not just her profile, but the entire thing, Vic. Like we're playing the long game here, my friends. So it's going to be
It is. It
a lot of
is.
fun.
That's one thing,
Um,
right? Is
and
to have patience. To have patience,
yes,
right?
yes.
So
Well,
let's
and that's
see. We got everything
branding.
from 0 to 4.
Work.
Okay, got
I
it.
got to that.
Jason, you're not 0.
I was
Yeah,
just gonna say,
just kidding.
Julianne
Okay.
and Jason, if you found this LinkedIn Live, you are not a 0. So
Yeah.
sorry, my friend, you cannot self-depreciate anymore. You are well above 0 if you are able to tap into a LinkedIn Live. So you know more
Okay.
than you think.
So let's start with
Yeah.
yours because yours is fabulous.
Oh.
Um, so, what do you think are the key areas that people need to kind of elevate their brand on LinkedIn?
Yeah, well, the thing with LinkedIn is regardless of what you do, and I'm going to use your friend Jason here as an example. So,
Mhm.
Jason, I've already LinkedIn stalked you because you were jumping in the comments. Whatever it is we do on LinkedIn, it all comes back to our profile. So, our content, obviously, we need to have compelling content and we need to engage in comments, et cetera, so on. When you do those activities, people automatically go to your profile. So that's really what people see first. Yeah, they see your comment first, but they really dive into your profile first and foremost. So when they land on the profile, and as you can maybe see on the screen share here, there's really 3 things that stand out for me, and that's the profile picture for one. Make sure you
Yeah.
have a profile picture, but beyond the profile picture, it's the banner that catches people's attention,
Right
as
here.
well as the headline, followed very closely by the about section. But we can talk a little bit more about that. The
So let's
banner,
repeat that for everyone. So
yes,
number 1, photo. Number
yeah, profile
2,
photo,
banner
banner,
right up here.
yeah,
And number 3, headline.
headline,
So break
yeah.
that down for us, those 3. Mhm.
And very quickly with the profile photo, most people have uploaded a profile photo where they get tripped up.
Hospitality is all
Oh,
about creating experiences.
that's my
And
cover
you have a
story.
cool video. Yeah.
I need
Okay,
to
we'll talk
redo
about the
it.
photo first, and then
Preview.
you tell
Yeah.
people about the cover story. Yes.
Yeah. Well, for starters, with your profile photo, it's great that you have a profile photo, but make sure it's visible in your settings. So if you're unsure, get a friend to help you or a second degree connection to help you to see if your profile photo is even visible. Jump into your settings and make sure it's visible. But you're right. The fun thing about the profile photo is now LinkedIn has the feature to create a cover story. And that's a 30-second commercial that sits behind your profile photo. People have kind of called it like
hospitality is all about creating
Look at that.
experiences.
That's
And that
so cool.
experience should start with you. If you are a meetings, events, or
And you
hospitality
put
professional
captions
looking
too.
to become a thought leader in your
That's
space
really,
or level up
that's
your
really,
LinkedIn
really
game,
good.
And I had
let's
good hair
connect.
that day.
I
so I'm
help
pretty happy.
individuals.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I think the covers, I mean, obviously the cover story is an incredible opportunity to showcase video and showcase your brand. But I don't know if it's the first thing that people are going to click on, because people are still learning that it even exists. So they might see it kind of hover there and like it kind of flickers, but they don't know that if they click on it, that it's going to pop up a full video of sorts.
Right.
So that's where the banner, I think, gets a little bit more attention right now versus the cover story. And yeah, the banner is your billboard, and it's free, right? Like billboards, they cost an arm and a leg of the ones on the
Yes.
highway, but this one is absolutely free. So take advantage of that space that if you don't put anything up there is just this gray block. Like it's actually
Very blah.
same color of
Yes,
my
it can be very blah.
It's
Yes.
very blah. There's no personality. And this is a great place to show your personality, show your personal brand, show your unique selling proposition, whether it's your brand's selling proposition or your organization's selling proposition. So anyway, I love what I just call it, banners. I love banners. I think it's underutilized, and I feel that there's so much opportunity to make more of that space.
And you made like, I mean, I really want to point out to folks like how wonderful this is and what Leanne has done, right? Because in a way, you can switch this up, right? Depending on whatever your latest classes are. It doesn't have to be always the same, right? It can be whatever new thing that you're maybe promoting or new value that you're offering, a new service you're offering. I love the like register, the link is right there. And then it immediately shows people the value that they're going to get. 3 ways to level up your LinkedIn game fast. Right? Tell us about your thinking, your thought process behind those things that you put up there.
Yes. Well, this is a master class. So this particular banner is showcasing a master class that I'm in the middle of presenting to the community. So, I mean, there's a few elements on the banner that I wanted to capture. Number one, pictures of people always do well. So this has yet another picture of me. And I think that's, you know, I read it this morning. It was another post. Goodness, was it your post, Fanny? Someone was talking about the difference between branding and vanity. And,
Not me. Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay.
But I'd be curious. Yeah. What is the difference?
Yeah. Well, because I think that's one of the reasons people shy away from personal branding is because a lot of our brand is that physical presence. It's video, it's pictures, it's audio. And so they're hesitant because they don't want to come across as being vain. It's all about me. But your brand is more about the other person and what it is that you can do to serve them. So even though in this particular example, the branding is me because that's my brand, it really is to level up your LinkedIn game. So it's about your LinkedIn journey. It isn't about, you know, the 3 things that Leanne did to level up her LinkedIn game. It's about your LinkedIn game. And then, of course, the banner is a great opportunity to have that CTA or call to action. Because when people come back to your profile and they, you know, read all these wonderful things about you, sometimes then they get tripped up and like, how do I take the next step with this person? I love what they're talking about, or I love what property they work at, or they've got me sold on the magazine they work for, but how do I now become involved? So the banner is a great place to get them involved, because you're creating this banner typically in Canva, which, by the way, shout out on your show notes. I'm totally stealing that idea.
Please. Yeah, I stole it from Canva.
Fantastic. But with Canva, you know, you can put whatever you want on your banner. And then, of course, that CTA, I think the CTA, in my opinion, is even more important than the additional picture of yourself up on the banner.
For sure. And then let's talk about the third thing. You're saying the headline, right?
The headline.
Right. Right
Yeah. And
there.
again, something that can get swapped out and in and out and in. And for you hospitality pros on the line, the headline is a great place for us to tell people where we're going. So for example, the Canadian Meetings and Events Industry has a show in person coming up in April called Tete-a-Tete. And we should all be plunking in our headlines that we're heading to Tete-a-Tete. So again, people come back to our headline and now they even catch a glimpse of where they can find us in person. But the headline is a great place for us to talk about how we serve our community at large. So of course, I've tried to do that with mine. I know G and I know Fanny, you guys do that very well in your headlines. It really is the opportunity for our audience to put themselves in our story. So once again, it doesn't need to be our job title, which for most of us, our job titles don't convey what it is we actually do. If you're a sales manager, that does not tell me anything about what you do. You sell, but I have no idea what you sell, right? So if you have an opportunity to invite your client and customer into the story through your headline, now you've created more of a connection and they're encouraged to read on through your profile. Does that make sense, Fanny?
Absolutely. And we got a question in the audience asking, what is the event that Leanne was talking about in April?
Yeah, well, so it's an industry event. I'm not sure who asked that question. It's a meetings and events industry event, because that's what meetings and event people do really well, is we meet and have events. So this is a trade show in April called Tete-a-Tete, or Head to Head, where hotels and destinations across Canada are gathering in Ottawa and inviting meeting and event professionals who purchase hotel and destination services. So that's what Tete-a-Tete is in April in Ottawa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
But someone in our industry, if we feel our audience knows what Tete-a-Tete is, that's a great place to plunk it in. So,
and that's what's even better. Like, I think, again, another great line is the riches are in the niches, right? You don't just do LinkedIn branding broadly. You focus very strongly in the hospitality industry because that's your background and your career. And it makes for such a nice niche to be in, right? You don't want to be jack of all trades. You're in your niche, you're specializing in that, and then you attract probably even more hospitality people to follow you, whatever your industries are out there.
Exactly. And that's the power of the niche, is for people to find themselves in the story. Branding professionals are literally a dime a dozen. LinkedIn coaches, even more than that. So how do you choose which coach to go with, or how do you choose which branding professional you can align with? When you niche down into an audience, now it becomes clear some of your options of people that you can align with. And I'm just one of thousands and thousands of examples of people who have done that and done really well in their niche. And Fanny, you're one of those individuals as well. And it doesn't mean we're pigeonholed in our niche, right?
Yeah.
Like, I have opportunities.
You still have people reach out to you from other industries, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I did a presentation for real estate agents last month. Well, I wasn't going to say no to that. In fact, real estate and hospitality are quite similar, the way that we sell. So the niche exists so that people can find themselves in your story, but you're never pigeonholed by that niche.
Such wise words. Yes. And see, like, Orlando's taking action already. He's going to follow your advice and changing his headline tonight. For those, actually, real quick shout out to Orlando Haynes. For those of you, he has an amazing podcast and show. I was on it the other week called Career Talks. So for those of you that are in recruiting, HR, be sure to follow Orlando Haynes. Okay. So yeah, let's.
Orlando.
Yes, connect with him for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. So let's get into some other topics here.
Yep.
So to summarize, the three areas are number one, photo, number two, headline, and number three, LinkedIn banner.
Banners, yes.
Okay.
So
Banners,
much
especially that banner. For
fun. Yeah.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. Love it.
Awesome. And let us know if you have any questions for Leanne about
Mm.
anything on the LinkedIn profile. I mean, that's just a snippet of, I'm sure, like a lot of other stuff you offer on your masterclass, right?
Yeah, well, the masterclass is really just a high level of those three strategies that
Mm,
move the needle, or that can help move the needle with your LinkedIn presence. And then, of course, the course Profile to Profit, we do a deep dive
yeah.
into everything. But you mentioned it earlier, Fanny. You were doing your top 10 list, which, by the way, I wrote down because I thought it was because even though I know them, it's like I just want to make sure I'm doing the right things. Commenting, right? So that's,
Yes.
spoiler alert, if you're on my masterclass later today, commenting is one of those strategies. You heard Fanny say it. And I endorse Fanny's recommendation of comments. It's incredibly powerful.
Right. Yeah. And even to, uh, what I've learned is people think you create content and people will just come to you. Well, no. It's like the tree that like fell in the forest. And if
Yeah.
there's nobody in the forest to hear it fall, it didn't know it fell. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if we don't go out there and engage on other people's posts and comment, they're not going to come to you.
Mhm.
It's an
Mhm.
exchange, right? What are
Mhm.
your thoughts, comments to add
That
to that?
That is the word. Thank you for saying that word. When you comment on someone's post, or then you even reply to the comments on your own post, you've now created that two-way engagement versus just posting and ghosting, and there's no engagement. And so people are wondering, where did you go?
Yeah.
You had this great piece of content, and now what do I do with it?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, commenting again on other people's content, very powerful, but even getting into your own content and commenting helps help. Now your audience knows that you're listening. And of course, everyone wants to
Oh,
be heard.
say
So
that again. Say that again. Yes.
okay, let's see if I can do that. So when you comment, your audience knows that you are listening, and everybody wants to be heard.
There you go,
There you
folks.
go, Dee.
Love it. Oh, we have a question from CJ. What do you think about companies that want you to use your LinkedIn banner to promote their company? She's not a fan.
Yeah,
That's a
with
sticky
good
one.
reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
with
What do
with
you
good
think?
reason. Well, people buy from people first, and so for those companies that have those mandates in place, it's an education piece and a dialogue about, well, how can we position ourselves better? How can we position ourselves as a company that people can trust? And it starts with their team members. So if you feel comfortable having that conversation with the marketing team, you might be able to find a banner that kind of fits both. Now we're really deep diving, but a strategy that can be quite powerful. And so, Cindy, this is for you, is if there is a CSR initiative that your company is doing that you are also very, very passionate about, that is a great pillar for consideration for your own personal brand. So whatever that CSR principle might be, maybe your company is big on recycling or diversity and inclusion. And if that's a passion of yours as well, then work with your marketing team to create a banner that showcases that, and maybe not necessarily what it is that your product or service is. And I don't know what Cindy's product or service is, so I'm hoping that that's a good enough example.
Share with us,
But
Cindy. Put it in the comments. Yes.
yeah, let's make sure I'm giving her the right advice.
Yeah, and even for me, like, you know, I support a few corporate clients, and for those of you that see it on my banner, yeah, I kind of follow that. But I've also seen people put both, so they split their
Mhm.
banner in half or in a diagonal, and they'll put their personal brand or side hustle there, and then the other half is then their corporate company kind of messages, right? Have you seen that,
Yeah.
Leanne?
Yeah, well, it's ironic you should bring it up because I did a post actually just 2 weeks ago about people who wear two different hats.
Mm.
So you're growing your brand and you've also got to represent your organization. And there are ways that you can do it. And you raised a great example is the banner. Now, the thing with the banner, so this is just about the banner alone. We're going to leave the other profile elements aside for a second. When you look at your banner, the last thing you want to do with that is create confusion. So when you post about your company and you post about your brand, if there's no alignment between those two sides or those diagonals, you're going to create confusion. And now your audience may be left wondering, am I in the right place here? Is this really my person? Because now they're talking about a whole bunch of different things. But there are some ways that you can tie those two together. And I have an industry friend. I wasn't even going to mention his profile today, but I will because I feel he's done it really, really well. His name is Ryan Young, which I get is hard to find on LinkedIn because there's so many Ryan Youngs. Ryan is the director of sales at the Ottawa Marriott. Hopefully that helps you find him. But Ryan is a podcast host and a director of sales at Ottawa Marriott. But what he did with his banner, which I thought was so fascinating, is he did have both of those things, but he created copy that clearly defined the two, but yet tied them together. And when you see his banner, hopefully you'll see what I mean. But it can be done. You just, again, need to put on your creative hat and take a step outside of yourself and look at your potential banner and go, okay, am I creating confusion with this piece of real estate? Or is it still clear who it is I am and who it is that I serve?
I found his profile. Let's
Okay.
talk about him.
Yes. I don't know if you can bring it
Nothing
up.
like a visual example. Give me one
Yeah.
second here. I did Ryan Young Marriott.
That's him.
Is that
Yeah, right at
him?
the top there. Yeah. So
Oh,
see
talk
how
us
we use
through
the
it.
words ready to? Super, it works. And that's the thing is there
Oh,
are banners that do
brilliant.
not work, but for whatever reason, Ryan's really works because he
Does.
made a clear distinction between the two, but yet they're both on his banner. You see,
Yes. There's
how
like
do you
a
feel about it,
yes,
Ken?
yes. I like that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah,
so smart. Yeah,
yeah,
ready to create an experience here. So, you know, that's the Marriott side,
yeah,
ready to collaborate on, and then podcasts. And
yeah,
then what's his headline here? Let's see. Sales leader with the Ottawa Marriott,
yeah,
conversation starter on the Illuminate Project podcasts,
yeah.
creative thinker in the meeting and an event space. So then
That one's still
that
a
kind of
purchase
ties it
and
together.
Ryan, but yes.
Creative thinker in the
Continue.
meeting and events. Yeah, so then you can tell like he's going to be talking about creative thinking, and then he
Mhm,
tied it back to meeting and event space.
mhm. Yeah,
Oh, very
yeah,
smart. I like that
yeah,
a lot.
he's done a really good job. So,
Awesome,
anyways,
awesome. Yeah, there
he
you
didn't know that
go.
was happening
Shout out
today.
to Ryan.
So, yes, hi, Ryan. Hope you're okay
Gee,
with that.
you can tag Ryan Young, and he'll be like, "What
Yeah,
happened? What happened there?"
yeah,
Oh, CJ,
exactly.
real quick, let's help her out. Really, she works at the American College of Emergency Physicians, which is a nonprofit organization for
Mhm.
ER physicians, and she doesn't have the mandate to post, but I've heard it happen. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, this is Cindy, the one with the banner.
Yes.
Um, well, yeah, I'll be honest, Cindy,
Yeah.
I don't know you from anybody, but I have a feeling some of the work that your organization does is something that you're probably passionate about as
Mhm.
well.
Or
So finding
healthcare, right? It might be
exactly and
healthcare, and it
caring
spans
and
across both. Yep.
Yeah. So finding those keywords might be good for your banner copy. I don't know
Mhm.
if that helps, but
Oh, we're really diving deep into
oh
this.
gosh.
Okay, last
Okay.
question on this subject. Dolores asks, how about two separate profiles, one for business and one for personal?
Uh-huh.
What do you think
So
about
Dolores,
that?
I'm not sure what industry you're in, but you know what? Unfortunately, the answer is no. And here's why. LinkedIn has now become that clash of business and personal.
Mm.
So LinkedIn started off as that stuffy professional. Here's my resume. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for people looking for jobs platform. It has moved over to that personalized
Mhm.
approach. It's moved from resume style to talking in first person through our
Yes.
profiles and through our content. So there is no such thing as business and personal anymore. However, Dolores, if you are an entrepreneur, yes, you should have a LinkedIn page for your entrepreneurial business, be it whatever it is you're doing, coaching. I don't know, Dolores. I'm hopefully that she's going to drop a note and let us know.
Yeah, let us
But
know, Doris.
yeah, so Dolores, if you have the opportunity to create your own business page because you are a business, absolutely you should be doing that. But if you work for a corporation that already has a page, this is your opportunity to let your personal brand shine through your one and only LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I find that even just to kind of add to that, like you're right, like LinkedIn is getting more personal, but I think it's because we're craving more of a connection now,
Yeah,
right? It's
authenticity.
we work from home, our kids or dogs might be running across the screen, right? Like
I'm wearing
w-
slippers.
yeah.
By the way, I'm wearing slippers.
Okay, if we're gonna share.
Yay! I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
And, gotta be comfortable. Just
Yes.
bottom down.
Yeah. Safe. Yeah.
But yeah, like and I kinda think of it as, like, you can be professional and have professional kind of posts or business kind of posts or educational kind of posts, like, you know, 50 to 75% of the time, but people are still gonna want to know, like, who is Leanne? Who is
Mhm,
Fanny? Who is G?
mhm,
Who's Jason?
mhm,
Who's Dolores? And you
mhm,
can spend that
mhm,
15% of the time or 10% of the time or 25% of the time sharing a personal note
mhm.
or a lesson you learned or a challenge you faced and how you overcame it, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and people want to know you before they can trust you, before they can buy from you. So if your purpose for being on LinkedIn is to drive those leads to your organization,
Yeah,
it's going to come through you first and foremost, and your organization second. So,
for sure.
this is a story from way, way, way back when, but I was around way back when, and so were you, Fanny.
Yeah.
In the 80s, when the big brands started to use spokespeople for their
Mm,
products, Cindy
mhm.
Crawford had Pepsi, or rather,
Yep,
Pepsi had Cindy,
yep,
Nike had Michael Jordan.
yep,
This is it in real time. We are now the Cindy's and the Michaels. Thank you very much for
yeah.
our organizations. And that's what's going to
And we
drive
don't have to be a
people like
supermodel or a super athlete.
I'm wearing slippers, right? Like I am
Thank
wearing
goodness.
slippers. And still I'm a spokesperson. Yes.
Yes, yes, yeah, and, yeah, Jason has a great point there, right? Like,
Mhm.
um, there you go. The
Mhm.
personal stories seem to resonate with people and sometimes relatable,
Yeah.
right? And to Leanne's point, we buy from people we know, like, and
Like and
trust,
trust.
right? There's so much options out there. We might as well buy from somebody we like, right? And give them our
Jason is
money,
a
right?
supermodel.
Because we
Yeah.
trust them. Yes, yes, yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now let's
Jason's a
jump
supermodel. I love that comment. I know you are, Jason. I don't even know you, but
strut it,
I know you
Jason.
are.
You go.
Yeah.
You go. Now let's switch to tools, Leanne. Now
Ooh.
you have, after all this show is creator tips, tools, and tales. What is your favorite content creation tool?
Well, Fanny, you may have alluded to it earlier, but all of my stuff on LinkedIn is created in Canva, all of it. Well, I guess except not the video, but even Canva, you can create video now. So Canva is such an incredible tool for design. You created the show notes. My favorite thing to do in Canva is to create memes. I'm terrible at it, but I'm having so much fun. So yeah, it's such a hoot. Canva is so easy to use. There's obviously, as you know, Fanny, there's the free version, which you can do quite a bit with the free version. But if you do elevate to a paid version, it does pay for itself. And I think I'd be shocked if I found a Canva user that didn't think they got their money's worth. So if you're serious about creating your personal brand, I think a paid version of Canva will serve you well.
Should we show people real quick? Is it quick to show them how to do a meme? I'll pull up Canva. We're all about demonstrating here.
I love it so much.
Okay, I'm going to pull up Canva. Walk us through it.
All right.
Okay, guys, this is how to create a meme for your LinkedIn content. We should add that to the content type.
Yes. Ooh, yes, that'd be great.
A meme in Canva. Where do we go?
Yeah, I think if you just even type meme in the search bar, it'll give you some templates, Fanny. Because I think that's where I got some templates.
Okay.
There we go. So just pull up one of those, any of them. And then they're all
the famous cat memes.
Cat memes. There's some where you can
there's the play. Yep.
And how do we make it play? Video, right? So if you find your favorite GIF, that's where I'm finding the most fun is I'll pull some of my favorite GIFs from like Giphy.com, upload them into Canva, and then I drag the GIF in and boom, it's an instant meme. So
yeah. And so you can get silly, right? Obviously with cats. But if you want something more professional, right? There's some professional kind of memes on Canva. So lots of options.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's drag and drop. Yeah.
Awesome.
So and you've done this, Fanny. You just pick a template and start dragging and dropping.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, you learned the new tip and tool here.
Dolores is going to make memes. I just know it.
Now, we're seeing an emerging content type, right? The one that I struggled to spit out of my mouth earlier.
That was hilarious, by the way. Yeah.
Nothing like a live to make you think on your feet and then blank out. What is this emerging content type?
So it's called social audio. And yes, it's what Clubhouse kind of re-energized. There was social audio before Clubhouse, but Clubhouse really did create a platform that was very user-friendly, and so social audio has hit the stage. If you're familiar with Twitter Spaces or Green Room or now LinkedIn Audio, you know what social audio it is. It's rooms that you can jump into, and there's conversations going on in the rooms by audio only. So it's like a Zoom call, but there's no video. So I guess that's the best analogy. You're listening in on a Zoom call with no video, and people are talking to one another about the topic. So this Fanny could have been a social audio room. The difference between what LinkedIn Live is here and what social audio is you can then pull people onto the stage to contribute to the conversation and then kick them off the stage when they're done contributing. So it's a great way to practice your thought leadership if you are just getting started with public speaking or even doing video. Social audio room is a great place to just practice for 2 minutes, and then that's all you're going to do today. But it's 2 minutes more.
You don't have to get ready.
You don't have to
wash your hair.
You can wear slippers. You can do whatever. But what social audio is doing, similar to video, is when you have conversations with people in these rooms, Now you know these people, and that know, like, and trust factor again starts that whole, the spinning wheel. And a lot of the friends I've made over the past year, in absence of seeing them in person, has been through social audio. And of course, Clubhouse was the biggest driver of that, and LinkedIn for people who use LinkedIn. I feel that it's going to completely change the relationship game.
Absolutely. Yeah, because on Clubhouse, you still had to build a network from scratch, right? Whereas you already have a network on LinkedIn and you're just enhancing it and growing it further with audio.
Exactly. And with LinkedIn, you already know to your point, your network is already there, and you're joining rooms where you already might know a few people, and you're joining rooms about topics that you already might enjoy. In Clubhouse, it might be difficult for you to find that room and to find that community. Luckily, I found a community on Clubhouse, but not everyone can. But there are so many different kinds of communities on Clubhouse. And that's the thing. Clubhouse is for everybody. LinkedIn is for LinkedIn users and professionally driven conversations and thought leadership conversations. Whereas Clubhouse, the conversations range.
I've seen musicians
so everything.
to
They talk about nothing. There's Kardashian channels, like those aren't the rooms I hang out in, but they have literally
whatever
thousands of
floats your
people.
boat.
Yeah. So yeah. Whereas LinkedIn, I'm hopeful we won't see a lot of Kardashian rooms, and the rooms will be more on thought leadership, whatever that thought leadership.
There you go.
Like. Yeah.
Yes. And let us know in the comments if you are going to get on social audio. I'd be curious to hear that. And if there's anyone in the audience that has LinkedIn audio rights right now, let us know if you have LinkedIn audio, whether you've attended or you facilitated a session. I'm curious to know your experience. Share with us in the comments. And time flies, Leanne.
I know. Well, it always does with you, Fanny, because you are such a great host. And of course, you're so smart. And I could just learn from you all day long. Like, you really do need to do a Fanny show
mutual.
about Fanny, is what you
Oh,
need to
gosh. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yes, they do. Your fans demand it.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But we were going to round out about the evolution of LinkedIn content in 2022, but we kind of touched on that about how LinkedIn is really moving from purely professional to some personal. And I think it's a good thing. What do you think? Yay or nay to having some personal content on LinkedIn?
Yeah. I'm a big yay. Yay. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
It's
We're so much more than who we are at work.
Yes.
Right.
And it is making work more fun. Right.
Sure.
For some people, it's now you don't have to leave everything behind at home. And it's integrating both. So I'm a big fan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you, G, in the comments. And remind everyone, be sure to shine your light, share your message, share your gifts, share yourself with the world, especially through video. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you in 2 weeks.